Welcome to my very first review. And what I would like to make sure you understand is that my reviews are not spec driven. My reviews are more, why did I buy what I bought? And it's not necessarily guns. It's going to be watches, bourbons, all kinds of things. But today, we're talking about something that I think is pretty darn special, at least for me, and that is my Springfield Vickers MasterClass 1911. First and foremost, let me make sure you understand this gun is clear. And I know you guys poop on YouTube for making us do this, but you know what? Any organization that promotes gun safety, I'm kind of okay with. Let's get into this review, for lack of better words. My reasoning behind this 1911 is pretty simple. Back in the 80s, I got out of the Army in 87. I was a medic in the 82nd Airborne, and my sidearm was a 1911 45, and I loved the damn thing, mainly because it was really the first real handgun that I handled and I shot. That being said, I grew up on them, so yes, I understand that I'm of a generation that has a little bit more of a nostalgic feel for 1911s. But let's take that out of the equation, because I do own some polymer things as well. I'm not opposed to anything out there. What I'm opposed to is that you're not going to carry to protect you and your family. I don't care what you carry something, and train. If you don't do that, well, you're an idiot. But anyway, let me get into this as to why I bought this particular 1911. I would love to sit there and say something flowery like, oh, it's this, that, and the other thing. Nope, it's because they had it in stock. I knew about the gun. I bought it new here in the communist state of Colorado, and I probably overpaid. I paid $1,800 for it before tax, which, whatever. But I was comfortable with that because of these few reasons. Number one, the names involved in the processing and manufacturing of this gun. Wilson Combat, Larry Vickers, Lipsey's, and Springfield. At the end of the day, all of those names are names for whom I trust. In addition to that, I am a snob when it comes to my 1911s. If you do not have front strap checkering, I'm not going to buy your gun. If you don't have at least rear cocking serrations, I'm not going to buy your gun. I do not like rails on 1911s, and I know maybe I'm in the minority in that, and that's okay. I'm just not a fan of them. I'm not a fan, it's not a deal breaker, but I'm not a fan of ambi safeties. I just not. I am a fan of a traditional 1911. And, well, let me rephrase that. As traditional by modern standards. And by that I mean bushing barrel. I don't like bull barrels. And yes, I understand the reasoning behind them. And I say I don't like. I guess in a 4-inch or even a commander length, I could probably live with it. But I want to be able to take down my 1911 with my thumbs. I just do. So I like a bushing. And when you deal with good quality craftsmanship, the bushing fitment is it's where it needs to be. I don't like busy sights. I cannot stand 3-dot sights. I like this serrated, blacked out rear, and I know it's not really going to come into focus, but this red-orange front sight, high-vis front sight, which is also a night sight. Now, for my eye, I don't care for orange-red. I like yellow-green better. That's just for me, and I will probably swap this out. Negative, I'm not a big fan of these grips. I get the logo, I get that, but if you can see them, first off, they're thick and they've kind of got an arch to them, which I'm not a big fan of. You see it right there. I want a thinner grip. I just want to feel like I've got more grip on the gun. Does that make sense? So when I grasp, I'm good to go. I do like these. I like the cocking serrations. I like the texturing there. This is actually really grippy. And I don't know what they call it, but I'm going to call it like a chain link fence design. And if you could see, they mimicked it on the front strap and on the grips. And I get it. I mean, aesthetically, that's pleasing, but I don't really buy guns for aesthetics. I buy guns for reliability and for purpose built. The hammer is a retro style hammer, and I kind of like that. It's a little out of the way. It's a little bit less, ooh, look at me, I'm the hammer on the gun, and it's just more functional. The grip safety, I mean, it is as good as it gets. And again, when you deal with these names in 1911s, and if they do their job right, and in this case they did, you're going to get quality, period. That's just all there is to it. The trigger on this thing is really, really nice. And again, you know, people put a lot of thought into reset and all that other stuff. You know, you watch Bill Wilson shoot, he'll go and he'll physically remove his finger from the trigger. So I think people overanalyze triggers. By that, I mean my Walther PDP. I think it's got one of the best striker fire triggers out there. And I freely admit that. That being said, I think in a high stress situation, you're just going to be yanking on that thing like you're jerking off anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The magazines that come with it are 2 Wilson Combat Vickers Elite magazines, or Vickers Tactical, excuse me. Tactical Elite or whatever. There's a lot of names on there. Anyway, no holes except for one in this magazine right there. That means a lot of crap won't get in there because everybody, let me rephrase that. Anybody who knows anything about 1911s understand the importance of a good magazine. And I will not buy anything other than Wilson Combat magazines. Yes, it's a polymer follower, but who gives a shit? That's not what's going to wear out. It's a good magazine. It comes with 2. I wish they would have come with 3. I did buy 2 additional Wilson Combat 10-round magazines. They're not the Vickers Tactical. They're just standard Wilson, and they do just fine. So if I have 8 plus 1, I've got 9, plus I've got 2 mags on my side for 10 rounds each. I've got 29 rounds of ammo. Guess what? Practice your reloads, moron, and then capacity is not an issue. This is not ambi safety, which I'm all for. I'm not a big fan of the ambi safety. It's not a deal breaker, but for me, I'm not a big fan of them. I don't like them. One of the things I would have done differently, and I might have this done, is your takedown. I just recess that, get that out of the way. It's like literally, it's like finding the clit. You're like, oh, well, there it is. Oh, finally found it. You know, so there you go. I'm not a big fan of front cocking serrations. It's not a deal breaker. If they're there, they're there. It just makes the slide look too busy. Again, not a fan of rails. I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker, but if I have this versus one with rails, I'm buying the one without. That's just me. I carry outside the waistband, and I carry in a leather holster. Why leather? Well, because it's a 1911 and it's incredibly comfortable versus that plastic. I don't think you put a quality 1911 in a plastic holster. That's just me. And it may be that I'm old school, whatever you want to call it. Plastic guns require plastic holsters, good quality 1911s, and a good quality leather holster. Milt Sparks, anything off that Wilson Combat website sells good leather holsters. Nighthawk sells good leather holsters. Google good leather holsters for 1911s, and you need to spend at least $150 or more on a good leather holster. It'll last you, it'll keep its shape, it'll keep its retention, and it'll just be comfortable to carry. The reason why I bought this also is because of carrying. People are going to go, oh my God, it's a heavy gun. Well, yeah, so was your girlfriend. But I don't mind it. I'm 6'3", 280. I can carry a big gun. With a good belt and a good holster and a good support system, you can carry it. I'm not a micro 9mm fan. I'm just not. I don't really have a problem with 9mm, but I like 45 and I like 10mm. I've got all three, 45, 9, and 10. The reason why 1911 and 45 is because, well, that's the classic combination. Am I opposed to a 9mm 1911? Absolutely not. My other 1911 is my Dan Wesson Valor V-Bob Commander 45. That damn thing is freaking sweet. And I would put it on par with this. I think quality-wise, they're about the same, as in really good quality. The other reason I bought it is because it fits my hand. You know, people want to talk bore axis and grip angle and all the other bullshit, and that's fine. Buy a reliable gun, number one. Number two, train with it. And number three, get something that fits ergonomically in your hand. If it's comfortable, you'll use it. And when I walk out of my house every day and I carry, if I have to choose between this, the Dan Wesson, and my Walther PDP, 9 out of 10 times I'm grabbing this gun. The other time, the Dan Wesson. Reason being, it's just very comfortable. It sucks up onto my side. It's so incredibly easy to carry, and yes, I carry outside the waistband. And frankly, bigger hole, bigger leaks. That's just how it is for me. And if the 45 sucked, why is Springfield coming out with a brand new line of TRPs? Because 45 doesn't suck. 10 mil doesn't suck. And 9 mil doesn't suck. And I hear it all the time, well, the 9mm's got this new bullet technology. Well, you booger-eating moron, they put the same technology into the 45s and the 10s and everything else. So you're not losing anything with the new bullet technology in the 45s. I will tell you this much. I have switched over to the Lehigh Extreme Defense in 45. It gives me a little bit better penetration, and bottom line is it's moving a little bit faster, a little bit more energy, so I'm kind of okay with all that. But at the end of the day, to get back to what I started before I got on my rant, I bought this because this is how, if I were to order a 1911, outside of a couple of minor things, this is what I would order. A bushing barrel, non-ramped 45, and a high-vis front of your color of your choosing, and a blacked-out rear sight, good combat-style hammer, single-sided safety that's really positive, good grips. Again, I'm not a big fan of these grips. I'm going to swap them out. The trigger, again, very little take up, and people just get too anal about triggers, but just a good trigger. It's just a really nice, see, that take up is just very minimal, and then when it's time to fire, it's a clean, crisp break. That's really all you can ask. I've got about 200 rounds through this thing, and not one malfunction, and just cheap ass ammo. So if you want a 1911, and if you can find this, and that's the challenge, it's discontinued. I bought this new, knowingly overpaying for it. If you can get it. It's a great gun. If you can't, I would recommend some alternatives. I don't know enough about the new TRP line from Springfield. I had the older TRP, and that was equally as good as this thing. The Dan Wessons, for the most part, all of them come with the front strap checkering, which is a deal breaker for me. Doesn't have this, I don't buy it. So most Dan Wessons, I don't think I know the Razorback does not come with it. That's 10 mil, which I don't understand that. You know, when it's hot and sweaty, you're going to want to be able to grip the damn gun. But a Dan Wesson would be great. A high-end Springfield would be great. HRT, that's kind of like finding Bigfoot riding a unicorn. They're hard to find. I would probably be okay with the new line of the TRP. I think that they would be pretty good. Wilson Combat, obviously. Nighthawk, obviously. All the custom makers, Les Bear and all that other stuff. But we're talking sub $2,000. I think if you can find one of these, the TRP used, or a Dan Wesson, you're going to be fine. But I found this, I bought it. I like all black for a daily carry. And when I'm leaving my house here in the communist state of Colorado, when I grab a gun, 8 out of 10 times is this, and I will probably the other 2 times grab, sorry, that's my dog. Get out of here, Norm, or Ruger. I would probably grab the Dan Wesson. I sounded like Biden just then, couldn't finish my thought. So the Dan Wessons in this are on par. I think they're equal. If I'm going to go to the woods, I do carry my Smith & Wesson 10 mil, 4.6 inch. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope this helped you decide between this gun and another 1911. But I'm a big fan of 1911s. And frankly, I think that's all I'm going to end up carrying. They're great guns. So get one if you can. Get a quality one. Rock Island is not quality, ladies and gentlemen. TSOS is not quality. SDS is not quality. Gearson is not quality. I've owned them and they're all crap. The biggest giant pile of crap in 1911 world out there are Kimbers. So stick with Springfield, Wilson, Dan Wesson. You're going to be fine. Clean, lube, maintain, and shoot these damn things. That's what they're built to do. Stay vigilant, train, and protect your family. That's your moral and Christian obligation. God be with you, and thank you so much for paying attention to my little silly video.